The other day, a friend of mine sent me and my wife a video of him listening to Christmas music in his car on his way to work. Now, I confess that I will sometimes listen to Christmas music long before the Christmas season because I just happen to have certain musicians on my phone. I'm a big Harry Connick Jr. fan, and I have just as many of his covers of famous Christmas songs as I do his original compositions. But that's not what happened with my friend. Nope. He wasn't listening to Christmas music on his phone. He was listening to a radio station that had started playing Christmas music 2.5 weeks into October. Now, I like Christmas music as much as the next guy, but 5 weeks before Thanksgiving is excessive to the point of being annoying. But you want to know what's even more annoying than ridiculously early Christmas music? Political ads on TV, radio, and even YouTube months and months before an election. If you thought 2020 would never end, I'm beginning to wonder if election season will ever end. There are basically two kinds of political ads out there. This person is perfect for the job because of these reasons, or this other person is the worst candidate for the job because of these reasons. Now, I'm not an expert on politics, but I do think it should worry us how much fear gets used in politics. Watch out for these guys because they want to take away this or that, or watch out for that party because they don't care about you like how we care about you. So give us more power so we can take care of you better. To be fair, there are plenty of politicians and plenty of other folks too that we need to watch out for. But if Paul were to give us any warnings, he would say to watch out for the kind of people who would try to drive a wedge between you and Jesus. Paul warns the Philippians about such people when he says, "Beware of the dogs, beware of the evildoers, beware of those who mutilate the flesh." In other words, beware of those who would undermine what Paul has taught you about your status in Jesus. Paul has even harsher things about his opponents in his letter to the Galatians. You really need to watch out for those people. But you know who else Paul subtly warns us about? It's not enemies out there, it's ourselves. Paul's opponents there in Philippians appear to believe that they have reason to be confident in their status with God based on their own accomplishments. So Paul decides that he can play that game too and lists all his accomplishments as well. If anyone else thinks he has reason for confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day, of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, as to the law, a Pharisee, as to zeal, a persecutor of the church, as to righteousness under the law, blameless. That's quite an impressive resume. So it might surprise us then when in the next breath, Paul says, all this stuff is basically trash. Paul would be completely and totally lost if he were to put any hope in these accomplishments. And Paul is honest enough with himself and his audience to tell us the best and worst of his life in less time than the average political ad. What can save Paul from himself? It's being found in Jesus, knowing Him and the power of His resurrection, sharing in Jesus' sufferings, and having a righteousness based on what God has done through Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit. If 2020 has taught us anything, it should be this: we shouldn't place our hope in anything or anyone other than Jesus.